Well, welcome back to the Pure Michigan Properties Podcast. Today, we are on episode 11.
Woo woo!
Would you all believe it? And I think that as time has passed, and we're the more we experience, the more we can share with you.
Oh, wait, hold on one second. It really pointed you out of frame.
It was like, take her out.
No. I need to get you in.
Wait. Am I right though?
There we go.
Okay.
Here we go. Sorry. Let's just start from the beginning if you don't mind.
All right.
Yeah. 3, 2, 1.
Welcome you all. Thank you listeners for joining us. We are now on episode 11 of Pure Michigan Properties Podcast. And so this episode, I think, is one that for everyone in the Great Lakes region, and maybe not even Michigan,
Yeah.
but if you have a home, you have a foundation. So this is for you.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
So, today we're going to break down basements, foundations, and water. Okay. Have you ever seen a property or a basement and smelled something weird down there?
Yes.
That's a big worry for people buying houses, especially in Michigan.
Yeah.
Okay. But not all water problems are scary. At
Okay.
least they shouldn't be.
Right.
Right? So today we're going to learn what's normal, what's not, and how to spot the difference.
Yeah.
Okay? And so this episode was brought to us by Dylan. All right? Dylan, what was your thought behind covering this topic today?
So, what you just said, if you have a house, you have a foundation, right? So this applies to everybody listening, whether you own your home, rent it, stay with somebody else. Your foundation is exactly what it is, your foundation. Once your foundation's shot, your whole house cannot be good, right? So the foundation, I like to say, is just your base, right? What's holding up that home? And there's different types of foundation that we're going to be talking about. So some people sit on a slab. They don't have a basement. If you have a basement, is it poured? Is it a brick foundation, right? Because these all make differences in the things that we're looking at as far as the structure of that home to determine whether it's safe, it's good to live in, or do we really have some big problems. The reason why I want to talk about it today, and this is something I was very passionate about, is because I just ran into this on one of my deals, right? I was on the listing side, and so when the buyers did their inspection, they noted some issues with the foundation. Freaked me out, because I'm like, ooh. And in most cases, it makes sense for a buyer to back out if there are foundation issues. So for me, I was like, let's bring this up. Let's bring some light to the podcast as far as what do buyers and what do sellers need to know? What do homeowners need to know about your basements, water, and foundation? Especially being in Michigan too, water is a big problem we see, right? So when we're looking at homes, as far as on the buying side, I always look at when you're in a basement, I always like to look above, see if there's any water stains going on.
Yes.
See if there's any cracks in that foundation. So
That's
a lot
right.
of times, if I see an unfinished basement, it's like gold. Because if it's finished, you can't really see much.
Gotta play X-ray vision, man.
Correct.
Like, let's back up for a second before we go further into the conversation, Dylan. You mentioned something about basement types.
Yep.
In Michigan, what kind of basements foundations do we typically find?
So you have black foundations and then you have poured concrete foundations. Black foundations are like big concrete blocks or bricks. Think like Legos, right? So you're stacking them on top of each other. poured, on the other hand, is like a smooth, they're just pouring, like, it's like a milkshake, right? They're just pouring it in, and it just stays and holds just like that, right? So it's a mold and it gets hard, right? One thing we always educate our buyers on is the block foundations. They do tend to crack a little bit just because the house is settling, shifts a little bit, just because it's getting into the ground.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? So you'll usually find a lot of tiny cracks in the bricks, but poured ones, if you see those long cracks, that's something to kind of keep an eye on. Both, they're okay, but if they get too big or you're starting to see some water come through them, that's where we have to have a conversation.
And I agree, right? When we're talking about the type of material that's used in pouring foundation and building the foundation of these homes, we also have to understand the role that water plays.
Whew, yeah.
Right? And so water, with these materials, water is permeable.
Yeah.
You know, osmosis take place and the water, you know, seeps between the mortar or the material, and over time, especially here in Michigan, as we transition seasons, you know, water freezes, and when it freezes, it expands and then it thaws out, so it creates these tiny little crater lakes. And I'm no expert at, you know, foundations and things like that, but I just know a little bit about water.
Right.
You know, don't want to scare anyone, but it rains a lot too.
Yep.
Right? And so the ground gets, again, super full of water, and all that water pushes really hard against some of the basement walls, and that's something that we call hydrostatic pressure as well. And so sometimes when that water sneaks through those tiny gaps, like I just discussed, especially where the wall meets the floor, that's called a cove seepage.
A cove seepage.
And so it's kind of like when water leaks into your boots from the sides.
I hate when that happens. I have a pair of Vans that I wear, and of course I wear it every single time it rains, and I get a little bit of water in my sock. I'm like, ugh, no. Well,
you know there's a remedy for that.
I know.
And you can waterproof your shoes.
I know.
Just like you can waterproof your basement.
We'll talk about that in a second.
But we're going to get into that. But there's an ejector pump. It's similar, but it deals. Nope, it is not. But sump pumps.
Yes.
Sump pumps help keep, you know, water away and out of the basement. And
sump pumps are one of the best things for basements.
It is absolutely, you know, if you have any type of concern or issue with how do I keep water out in a way, let's for one address grading, and as long as your grading is good.
Grading is a simple thing.
Grading is very
You're just
simple.
making sure there's nothing getting between the house and the basement.
Yeah, and the foundation.
Foundation, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So just making sure that gutters, for one, are aimed out and water is flowing away from the house, but also that if you do have gaps, that you're just filling those gaps higher than where, you know, the house and the basement levels.
Yeah, a lot of
and
times.
meets. Yeah.
A lot of times that's just the problem.
Many times
Put
it's
some
just the problem. More times than often that's the problem.
1,000%.
Yeah.
Just put some sand or some dirt, some soil there, mulch even, whatever you got to do. Put a barrier.
Now they have that glue, so once you pack it, you can glue it, and then you can even add like rock or gravel around it, and it doesn't move, like it's
so it sticks?
Yeah.
Oh.
So that's even better, right? That's an easier fix than some of the other issues, right?
I feel like as real estate agents, we see foundation issues as big problems, right? And so
I don't.
I do.
I don't. Simply because if you have the right skill set and you have the resources,
Mm-hmm.
I know that we can find a solution. We can find a resolve
Okay.
to the problem.
I see what you're saying.
Right? It's just, do you have what it takes to take on this project?
Or, I mean, for me, it's a negotiation now.
It's always a negotiation. And I think that, let me even shed light to why I think like this, right? I have a lot of conversations with investors. So investors have different skill sets.
Right.
Versus a regular residential buyer,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's looking for a family home or their primary resident, right? And maybe their first time buyer. No first time buyer wants to walk into a property. I'm not gonna say no, but I don't know any that wants to walk into a property that has foundation issues.
No, I don't know anybody.
So,
right.
I think that's just where my thought comes in at. And so, yeah. But there's ways to keep water out of basement
Mm-hmm.
to keep your foundation intact.
Sub pumps, grading, waterproofing your basement,
Mm-hmm.
sealing those cracks up.
Yep. The ejector pump.
The ejector pump, exactly.
So, let's talk about it, right? Don't necessarily walk away from a property without being fully informed. One thing that I don't like is bowing walls.
Yep.
If the foundation is bowing, now that's something that I probably would advise my client to, hey, really consider.
Mm-hmm.
And if it were me, I probably would walk away from bowing walls.
That's a big problem.
Yeah. Because at that point, in order to really rectify the situation as I know it, you have to jack the house up.
Yep. Yeah, because you're dealing with the foundation. You still have this stuff on top of it. You can't just get rid of the wall. But how do you fix that wall?
Right.
While everything else is still like above.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you gotta crank it up to fix that wall. That's a headache and a half.
It is. And you guys, we love you.
So much that we would not let you do that.
We would not let you do that. We want you to have the best experience. Again, your results are directly tied to our results as well. Your success is our success.
Correct, and that is not a successful situation.
And it's not peace of mind for either one of us, right? And so, you guys, that definitely would have to be a conversation to be had.
What else would you see as big concerns or big issues while you're showing homes or while you're on listing appointments? When you're walking to a basement, you're like, okay, actually, this is something we need to address.
Yeah, but you mentioned it, the big cracks, things like that.
Yeah.
If I'm looking from the outside, the stair stepping in the mortar.
Yep.
The bowing in the walls. Water puddles, of course.
Yeah, I mean, I was just showing a house, and we went into the basement, big puddle in the basement. I'm like, okay, we're going to move along now.
And I had a listing that had water seeping into the basement after it rained, and we found that it was just a crack on the porch.
Okay.
So it was really an easy fix.
Mm-hmm.
But after a heavy rain and water, as it's seeping in the basement, it expands, so it looked like a much bigger problem than it really was. So consult with a professional.
True.
If it's really a home that you love, don't necessarily just walk away, because I tell my clients I'm not an inspector, and I also will not tell you anything that I don't know.
Right.
And I'm not into foundations and things like that as well.
That's fair.
Some things I can tell you, look at you and say, hey, we want to check this out further.
Right.
I've seen this happen in other inspections, or I've had this happen and this is very similar.
Mm-hmm.
But if you absolutely love this home, seek professional
Correct.
advice. Let's see how much it will cost.
Yeah.
That's something we can negotiate.
Mm-hmm.
And sellers, be aware, right? If you know that you're having these issues, let's go back to talking about the seller's disclosure for a minute, right? We, as agents, we tell our clients that transparency on the seller's disclosure, it actually protects you as a seller.
Oh, 100%.
Right? When you have a good seller's disclosure, it actually moves the sale along faster.
Yeah.
Because that buyer has confidence and they have trust in your property.
Correct. I mean, I hate when I open up a seller's disclosure and they just scratched it off. I'm like, oh God.
It's
oh, no.
never been wet in the basement,
Yeah.
and you're like, well, there's
what is that?
puddle there. We have on rain boots down there, you know.
We're at the splash pad.
What's going on? You have mushrooms seeping from your floor and all type of shrubbery and plants and debris now. But you know, and mold.
Yeah.
You know.
Big problem.
Yeah, we look at it.
Yeah, because that affects your health now.
Absolutely, absolutely. So those are the type of things that I'm looking for. Like you mentioned too, smell.
Yeah.
Right. Or somebody mentioned the smell.
Mm-hmm.
But what do you got?
I mean, I think you hit the big ones, right? So we're looking for those bowed walls, big cracks. I'm really looking for, because again, it may be something really small, but it also could lead to a bigger problem down the road. A lot of times you can just put some mortar up and you're good. But a lot of the time, or on the other side, there's times where you have to get a structural engineer out to take a look. And so back to what I was telling you as far as my house that we're listing.
Mm-hmm.
The buyers did know that there were some foundation issues, and so they were asking for the foundation to get fixed. I'm like, okay, well, let me figure this out. Let me see what's going to happen. I called out a foundation expert, and the guy's just like, it's just an old house, couple cracks, mortar, and you're good. We sent that back to the buyers. Buyers had such peace of mind after that. They're like, okay, we're good. Move forward. Awesome.
And so, you remember the one property that I had listed, that the land bank, my
Lakewood?
Lakewood.
Yeah.
Remember Lakewood?
I remember Lakewood.
Funny story. You know I always have funny stories. And I was going to talk to you off camera about this, but
okay.
Perfect time to actually bring it up. I was in the area yesterday, matter of fact.
Okay.
And I just stopped by Lakewood.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And we have a little bit more to discuss. But when I initially listed the property, I made sure that I put in there that I never had access to the basement.
Okay.
Right? There wasn't any steps to get to the basement.
Right, I remember.
Right? Okay, and I had put out a Facebook post, social media post, different platforms, and it came with a story. Right, and I explained, hey, never seen the basement, and people were reaching out, people were commenting, they loved the fact, that I was being transparent.
Yeah.
Right? And so, yesterday I had an opportunity to walk the basement.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
And not bad. It wasn't bad.
Okay.
It wasn't as scary as I thought. And for anyone who's had the opportunity to see the photos of Lakewood, it looked very dilapidated.
Yeah.
Big time distressed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Not anymore.
Really?
And so, I'll tell you, the individual working on the property, we did find that there was some bowing in the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Not a big deal to them because they have the team, the crew, the resources to jack the home up. And
wow.
And it's just the one wall.
Okay.
Right. So, to my surprise, it was dry.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like moldy, and I thought that this when you see the home,
You're like, I'm waiting.
when you saw the home,
I saw the home. I took my buyers by it.
Exactly. When you see the home and the condition that it was in, I imagined that the basement was like atrocious.
Yeah.
And I've had the opportunity to walk a lot of properties in Detroit, and some properties we have Michigan basements, which was designed for storage.
Right.
And I've been in some beautiful homes with some scary basements.
Oh, so we've seen some scary basements.
Yeah, and this one actually, it wasn't that scary, I'll be honest with you.
Okay.
It wasn't scary at all.
Good.
I was shocked myself.
You're like, wait, actually,
Yeah,
this is kind of nice.
Okay. Yeah, so just wanted to mention that. Right?
No, that's a good one. Interesting.
Yes.
Because that would be right where you were thinking.
Exactly. So.
Nice. What a nice surprise.
Yes, in the next couple of weeks, I'll be revisiting the home, and I just want to see it all come together.
Is it getting listed again? Are they just fixing and listing it, or what are they doing?
We'll talk about it.
Okay.
Let's talk about that.
We'll talk about it later.
Yeah. But ensuring that safety is always first.
For sure.
Right, for our buyers, and even for our sellers.
I tell all my buyers, as far as what's going on with the inspection, things we're really looking for is safety, structural, and any environmental issues.
Yes.
As long as it fits in those three categories, that's where we really have a discussion.
Mm-hmm.
The cosmetics, the delayed maintenance on stuff, we'll talk about that. But more importantly, I'm looking, is this a good home that you can move in today?
Mm-hmm.
And I know you'd be good.
Indeed. And one thing, too, that I want to mention and throw out here is that when it comes to basements and when it comes to rooms in basements, right, it's imperative in order for it to be considered a room that it has points of egress, 2 points of egress.
What is egress, Shonda?
Ta-da! Egress is a big window, and it has to be at least 5 feet, 5 by. Funny thing, I just asked a firefighter a couple days ago, but for whatever reason, it's left me. But it allows who's ever sleeping in the basement or occupying that space to crawl out in case of a fire.
I like what you said, because I don't know the dimensions either, like that are required by law. But I like to say it, as long as like a fireman or firewoman can get in or out of that window, that's how you know it's egress.
That's right.
Right? So if it's one of those windows that have like the black windows, yeah, that doesn't count. No, you gotta get in and out of that.
Gotta be able to get in and out.
Right.
And that's
God
law.
forbid.
The law says that there needs to be one if someone is sleeping in a basement.
I fought with sellers because we'll go in their basement and they have a room that is set up as a basement, but it does not have an egress window. Like, you can't count that as a basement.
Yeah, that's not a bedroom.
Or yeah, that's not it's a basement, but it's not a bedroom. Sorry,
it's not a bedroom.
Yeah, it's not a bedroom.
And then we find too that radon gas. So let's talk about making sure safety first. Now we're talking for safety first when it comes to basement, and we've discussed egress windows as is relative to bedrooms. Let's talk about radon gas.
Yeah,
you know,
it's another one.
So tell me about what do you know about radon gas, and what's the conversations that you have?
Correct. So radon gas is another inspection that I don't see a lot of my buyers doing. Mm-hmm. Actually, I've seen a handful of them do. Right? Basically what happens is radon is an invisible gas that you really can't smell either. Mm-hmm. And so it comes from the ground and gets stuck in our basements, right? If you breathe a lot of that in over a long period of time, mm-hmm. it will have serious issues with your health. So I recommend to my sellers, or my buyers, let's test for it. And basically the measurement is picoliters.
Right.
I don't remember the specific zone you got to be in with those picoliters, but I'll find out for you guys.
So it has to be like 0.04 or less. Well, in order to pass.
Correct. I'm not 100% sure. But
yeah.
That sounds correct.
Yeah.
It sounds correct. But for radon, we'll test it. Basically, they bring a box, and it's a box test. And they'll hang it in a room. And usually they sit it for 24 hours. Mm-hmm. And then they'll come back and they'll read that measurement. If it's above, you can still fix it. Basically, they just take all the radon and they just put it outside, basically. But you just don't want it sitting in your basement.
Yeah.
It's just not healthy for you.
And so, Dylan has taught me something today. I have not yet come across a buyer who's ordered a radon test. I always bring it up in the consultations and things like that. But it's not a real big issue because you mentioned picoliters.
Right.
Right. Picoliters is such a small unit to measure.
Correct. It is one of the tiniest measurements.
The tiniest measurements of
a scale.
Measurements,
yeah.
And so, but good news, like you said, problem solved. They are able to divert the gas, and so hey.
Yeah, I mean that's just a
problem solved.
It is a fixable issue. I'm trying to remember what the cost would be on that. I think it is a hefty cost. I'm not gonna lie. But again, that's where you get a good agent to negotiate on your behalf.
Oh, absolutely. You know, most times when sellers put a home on the market and list it, they want to get it sold.
For sure.
So,
I mean, unless you just have that seller that's testing the market.
Yeah, right. But aside from that, you know, sellers are willing to negotiate. And
especially if it's a big problem like that
exactly.
deals with like your safety and health. For sure.
And I think it's just important for buyers to understand what to negotiate in specific markets. And it's okay if you're the buyer that just has to negotiate the desires of your hearts. I think it would just be to have the expectation. Some sellers won't just settle. It is what it is.
No, I mean,
right?
I've noticed some sellers are really tough.
Yeah.
They're not moving.
Yeah.
Right? There's different tools in the tool belt that you can pull out. That creates a win-win for both sides, both that seller and that buyer, so that the buyer has the peace of mind
that
they're getting a great home.
And so one of those tools that you mentioned, would you be talking about like a warranty?
Oh, I love a good warranty.
Absolutely. And I think there's just something as an agent, right? We have to be quick with the knowledge of how warranties work.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
Some agents, they never even discuss with their clients what a warranty does.
Right.
To protect their peace of mind.
Correct. So there's houses we'll look at and the AC unit's about to go out, right? I understand as far as the seller, they are like, well, we disclosed that it's age, but I have the buyers that are like, well, I can't afford to pay it for a new AC unit. I'm like, great, let's just ask for a warranty then. Because you know what? I mean, the possibility of it going out in a year is likely.
Everything has an end life, right?
Correct.
Nothing
Roof,
lasts
AC,
forever.
HVAC,
Correct.
all of them. Even your dishwasher, right?
Yes.
All of it.
Yes.
They all have lifespans.
So we'll make sure that you're protected at least.
Correct.
When it comes to purchasing the home. And even for our sellers, we have something that during your listing, we will make sure that your home is under warranty.
Correct.
So in the event that anything happens before, the close of a sale, after you have your house, an offer accepted, I'll say that if you run into some issues, we can make sure we get addressed and fixed.
Correct. There's always a solution, more of
Yeah.
the story.
Absolutely.
Just you have the right agent to give you that solution.
Do you have the right agent?
That's the thing.
So, you have 2 good agents right here, you guys.
Some of the best, let me tell you. Let me tell you.
Well, some of the tips that I have that I'll share, and I'll let you share some too, Dylan. I want you to have a say-so in this as well. Part of my walkthrough process, bring comfortable shoes.
Yep.
Let's grab a flashlight. We're going to have some masks available as well, just in case.
Yep.
But we don't start on the main level.
No.
Let's go. I like to take my buyer straight to the basement.
Yep.
We're going to start from the bottom up.
Correct. Because if the bottom's already messed up,
yeah,
we don't need to see the rest of the home.
We don't need to see the rest of the home. I spent so many hours at a home inspection just in a basement.
Mm-hmm.
This was last year, day before Thanksgiving. My buyer had a home inspection.
Uh-huh.
And the house, what was it? 1,300 square feet, so not a large house.
No.
Right? Typically takes 2 hours at best.
Right.
Right? To get through the house, complete a home inspection, a regular home inspection. We spent about an hour, 15 minutes just in the basement.
Wow.
So.
Wow.
You guys, and that's because I'll mention to you, basements, foundations, it had termite damage.
Ooh.
Right? So the termites had eaten through the wood at this point.
Ooh.
Right? And so what the investor who owned the property, what they tried to do, it looked like they painted over the ceiling, painted the wood and things like that.
Yeah, try to hide it.
Yeah. But it was something about this one spot that just stuck out to both my buyer and myself. And we brought it to the attention of the home inspector to really take a look. And that's where I learned that in order for termites to eat through wood, that takes about 20 to 30 years.
Wow.
And so the termites had eaten through the wood. It was hollow on the inside. So that means that
they've been in that house.
They had been in that house. And as we continued the home inspection, the attic space, it was all throughout the house.
Do you see any active termites in there?
We did not see any active termites. What we did see was my home inspector called it mudslides.
Okay.
Or don't quote me, mud tubes.
Okay.
And so they look like little specks on the wood. Can resemble like a small, say you take a putty knife or something and you go outside and you get some mud and you just take the tip and just wipe it on some wood or on a wall or whatever. That's kind of what it looks like.
Okay.
Just little ribbons of I guess mud.
Okay.
That's how it looked. But other than that, my buyer was willing to take the property with the other issues that were identified.
But not the termite. Yeah.
But not the termite damage.
Can't do that.
Yeah.
That's your structure of the home.
Yes, and it ran up all the walls. It was a bungalow, and the third floor of the bungalow had, a bedroom and a bathroom. But even there, we found signs of termite damage. So, yeah, that's the structure of the home.
Yeah, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, one stuff and you just fall right through the floor.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's your safety.
Absolutely.
No, you can't do
and
that.
So
that's tough.
Buyer loved the house.
Oh, I'm sure. That's the biggest bummer.
Yes. And so.
Thank God you did an inspection. People waive inspections. I'm like, that's crazy.
I'm gonna be honest. He was going to waive the inspection.
I'm
My
sure
buyer was going to waive the inspection.
I'm sure he did. He's glad he did it.
Because he had a certain skill set with homes.
Yeah.
And things like that. So he would have been able to do a lot of the work himself that we saw that there was still a need to bridge some gaps in certain areas.
Yeah.
But that right there. Yeah. So quick tip. We're going to go straight to the basement. We're looking for cracks. We're looking for mold.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to check behind the water heater and see if there's a sump pump plugged in and if it's working.
Correct.
What do you have? What's some things that you will do?
Biggest thing I've learned this year, and you said it, was we're starting in that basement.
Yeah.
I really do. Something that I've started doing, in the past year. Look in that basement first, because the basement will really pretty much tell you a lot about the rest of the home.
That's it.
Right? Again, smell for mold. Get a whiff. See if it's musty.
Yes.
You'll really know. That basement will tell you a lot about that home.
Mm-hmm.
Cracks, obviously you mentioned that, but really I'm also looking at the age of the mechanicals. But I even tell my buyers a lot of the times is, even the age, but I'm more concerned about the condition.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Absolutely.
And I even like to look at is that seller doing routine maintenance on it? A lot of the times you'll see a sticker in the serviceman or servicewoman will write the date that they serviced the HVAC unit, whatever. I want to see, does the seller care to get the serviced? Because that'll tell you a lot about the rest of the home as well.
And I've learned to look at, if I can add to your point, at how many homeowners there've been.
Yeah.
Right? So that tells a lot as well. For me, it speaks volumes. Right? If we're looking at a property and it has only had one or just a few homeowners, right? And if we're walking through this property and it's a nice property, then that speaks volumes to the upkeep and the maintenance of the home.
Right.
Right? Versus it's hard to tell, where you have a lot of property owners in the past, because we don't know. For me, I typically have more questions on those properties because we don't know what the previous owner did or what that previous owner did, and because it's layers.
Correct.
Right? Everyone who buys a home makes their home, according to their likes, their wants, their needs, and maintenance. Every year you have to do a handful of things to make sure that the property stays maintained. So
I like to say to every single one of my buyers, as much as it's great to get a home, you still got to maintain it.
Yep.
If you do not take care of it, you're going to run into so many more issues.
And so now you know that basements can look scary, but they're not always a big deal. Just know what to look for and don't be afraid to ask questions.
And I'm sure the viewers have a ton of questions.
And
so how do they ask those questions to you, Shalonda?
Well, whenever you have questions, don't hesitate. If it's in the streets, just say, "Hey, Shalonda, I have a question." And I say, "Yeah, let's talk about it." But if it's just, "Hey, I have a quick question that I need to maybe just text you and ask you," text me. If it's more inclusive or whatever, call me. And you can call me at 586-339-8321. I'll answer. That's my personal number, so I'll answer if you call. Dilla, how do they ask you about the questions that they have?
Best way to get in contact with me is reach out by giving me a call or shooting me a text. 248-891-9860. That is my number. Ask all the questions. Let's have a conversation.
And so you all, specifically for this episode, we created a 10-point basement walkthrough sheet. And it'll make your next home tour a lot easier. If you're interested, reach out. Let us know. and we'll provide you with a checklist. But also, we also like to hear from you, right? So leave in the comments, like, share, follow if it's something that you find is valuable to you or worth sharing with your friends. Share. And just let us know how we're doing. What do you want to hear next? And let's go from there, you all. We appreciate you.
Suggestions, questions,
Yeah.
episodes you want to hear. You let us know. We'll do the research, and we will come to you with a value-packed episode.
You all, we can't do this without you. We wouldn't do this without you. And so we really appreciate you taking the time out to join us and share the information with someone who you may know that can benefit from the information. So if it's not you directly, we still like to thank you for your support.
Thank you, truly from the bottom of our hearts.
But until next time, you guys, we'll wrap this episode up. See you later. Thank you for joining Pure Michigan Properties Podcast.
Bye.
Bam.
Ugh.